Okay, so there's Jennifer Adams on the list there at the hospital waiting on a heart transplant. Okay. So Mr. Ronnie continuing to improve in a rehab facility there in Madison, and then Jennifer Gatlin broke her arm about a week or two ago, and is seems to be improving as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. Carter. Okay, so the update on the quintuplets that we had a report on last week, that mom and dad have COVID and Carter is still on a vent. Okay. I believe the report or what the plan was last week, Kelly Graves leaves tonight. Flew out today. Okay. So remember Kelly over the next days and weeks as she's going to California to the Moya Moya Specialty Clinic there at Stanford University. Who? Prince family? All right, Mr. Charles, was Charles Prince? Charles Prince passed away, so remember that family. Okay, so Mr. Carroll Eddy, Jonathan's daddy, has a checkup this next Thursday in Jackson to discuss some different options and plans. Okay. Chase did call me just about an hour ago. He was on his way to the hospital. His dad's kind of been up and down. But they do have him off of the vent and off of everything for the time being. So a little bit of encouragement there. And so, he just said continue to pray, but today's been a good day. And so, praise there. Those aren't close together. Okay. Travel mercies for Janice Smith as she's stateside for the moment and be traveling between Oklahoma City, Richmond, and Mobile. All right. Any others? Okay. Okay. y'all remember Mr. Toby Harrington, that he had surgery a few weeks ago and kind of up and down since then, and that'll weigh heavily on you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So continue praying for our pastor search committee. Make sure that we find the person God has intended to step into the pulpit. Uh-huh. Okay. Remember to pray for Mr. David Furman as he's going to start back up cancer treatment. Okay. I apologize. I'm having a hard time hearing tonight. I don't. All right. Do we have any volunteers to pray this evening? 2 or 3? Artie? Anyone else? Mr. Charles? Artie, if you would open us, and then Mr. Charles, if you'll follow Artie. Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity to come into your house, to gather with this family of believers, Father, this body, to Lord, come before you, lay our burdens at your feet, and Lord, trust that you are good, loving, kind, and merciful, and that you will act in these, every request mentioned here tonight, Father. Lord, you know the needs. You know the hurts and the sorrows, God. But Lord, above everything, we ask that you receive glory from each and every situation. Father, be with us tonight as we hear the reports from those who went out on mission this summer. Lord, I thank you for their willingness to go and to serve. Lord, I pray that the fruit, Lord, the expansion of the kingdom will be such that, Lord, generations of people will be impacted by what was done these past few months. We love you. We praise you. We ask all this in your name. Amen. Tonight we are going to hear from our mission team as Justin's making his way up. I'll take the opportunity. I was reminded about our Choices Clinic change campaign, the baby bottles. I know a lot of you grabbed them already. If you had a baby bottle, we do need it back. Fill it up, but bring it back full. If you haven't grabbed a baby bottle yet, grab one on your way out. They're right out this door right here. Just grab an empty baby bottle and fill it full of the change you have in your car, coffee mug, on your dresser, couch cushions, it don't matter. We'll take it. All right, Justin.
Thank you. All right, so tonight, this summer, we've had a lot of missions, a lot of people going out. So this is just showing, highlighting 3 of them. We couldn't do them all in one night. I know Artie and Sheila is going to be given the opportunity to share about theirs, maybe in the next coming weeks or so. If we have time, we can do it tonight. I'm good with that too. But we also have Miss Robin that went to SICO, and so we just want to make sure we get a chance to put in front of you what y'all have supported. And so tonight we're just going to focus on North Dakota, Moldova, and wherever else we went, Dominican Republic. I'm waiting for me and Brett tried really hard fighting with that dumb system that takes over the computer. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you can go ahead and go to the next one. So we're going to start with North Dakota. I had Jason lined up to speak a little bit about it. If you didn't know, Jason Jeffcoat can talk to anybody. Like, it is unbelievable. We turned him loose in a mall, and it was a sight to see, but his air conditioner went out today in his house, so he's dealing with that. So start with the picture right there with Mr. Paul. That's Ian Harp, the church planner that we partnered with. He's actually going to be coming here in October and going to help us out, bring a small little team to help out with the trunk or treat and to help out at the fair. So, those things coincide with one another. So he's going to bring a small team, and so y'all get to meet him. Great guy. Doing a lot of work. He's a pastor of one church in Belfield and then planted a church in Dickinson. They're about 45 minutes apart. Anyways, so that's Paul giving him one of his carved canes. And if you've never seen Paul's work, it's amazing. So anyway, so that's the group that we had. I wish everybody could get up and talk about it. And then we got Lindsay there. She really talked to the kids wherever she could. It was one day it was here, one day it was there. Anyway, so that's some of the kids that came to the block party that we did. The guys cooked, and we fed hamburgers, or the ones that was left that Sawyer left. That boy can eat some hamburgers. And so you can go ahead and go to the next one. So that's a stage that we built. I had to add one in there of me working so that y'all know that I did some work while I was there. So we built a big stage where they're meeting in an old hospital. They've turned this old hospital, and there's probably 25, 30 businesses throughout that hospital, but they got a section of it for the church plant. We built a stage. I didn't put a finished product in there, but it turned out really nice. Mr. Ray Smith can plan a building project, that's for sure. Go ahead, next one. And then that's more of us working out there. I didn't want to leave anybody out. We got Miss Sheila and Miss Diane down there doing the popcorn and the cotton candy, and that's some of the jumps that we had. What was the total number of kids that we had come that week? I don't remember, but it was hit or miss some days. Some days the wind was blowing like 60 miles an hour, sustained. It was ridiculous. So, anyways, go to the next one. Yeah, all right, go back. What'd you say? Yeah. One day we couldn't set up the jumps because it was we had sandbags on them and all that kind of stuff. But no, it was but overall the trip itself it meant a lot to Ian. It looked nothing like what we do here because they are serving in an area that is very, very tough. Very influenced by Lutherans and Catholics, and then just people that are flat out tired of church. They don't want anything to do with it. But we did meet some people that were very excited that there was a Baptist church finally in their community. But we met people that just it's just a different type of people. I really can't explain it. So, but Ian was very, very pleased with the work that we was able to do there, and to get a lot of people involved, a lot of families involved, and he's starting to see some of the fruit of that. It's a slow process. It's not going to change overnight there, so he's he needs to continue to stay in our prayers, and hopefully again next year we can send a team up there to continue the help and to continue the work, because when they see, the community sees, hey, y'all came last year, they can see that we're invested in making their community better, and it's not just one of these fly by night, hey, we're going to go up there and play with some kids and then be gone. It's an investment that we're partnering with them to help them have a better footprint in their community. So really, yeah, excited about going back. If y'all didn't know, who's been to North Dakota? Anybody? So there's like 6 trees, and that's it. And they're all at the airport. Because when we landed, I had told Jason, I was like, dude, there's no trees up here. We landed at the airport, got in the rental car, and he goes, dude, there's all kind of trees, right? I was like, hush, give it 10 minutes. We'll be out of the trees. But literally, you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. Like, it's wild. I've never seen so much horizon. That's in the city, though. They plant, so you can see trees around people's houses, but it's because they put it there as a storm break. It breaks the snow, wind, things like that. But out in the country, I mean, it's just very few. Hush, Jim. All right. So I don't know. So do y'all want to, Artie, do you want to add anything? Lindsay, Mr. Ray, or anybody else that I'm missing? No?
The one gentleman that when he found out that there was a Baptist church in the area, he was very emotional, and the next day he rode his bicycle like several miles just to come see him. So that was really awesome to see that.
Yeah, I forgot about that guy. Oh, and also, so Ray and Diane and Paul and Diane, I guess, and Lindsay and them, they stayed in the campground when Ian called the campground owner and telling them what they were doing and that they needed some spots for campers. He said, well, they can just come and stay for free. He said, if you're coming to do the Lord's work, then they're going to stay here for free. And so they stayed there for free that week. And he ended up coming up there and speaking with us. And he even offered Paul Johnson a summer job. So you never know what retirement holds. Yeah, he was. Lindsay almost got kicked out of the campground. I just thought about it whenever he's talking. Yeah, Lindsay was speeding. Lindsay was speeding twice, and yes, enforces 9 3/4, not to be confused with Harry Potter, but 9 3/4. Anyways, yeah. So it was a great trip. Like I said, he's coming in October. I hate I'm not gonna be here, but y'all will have to welcome him. And he's a Southern boy from what part of Florida was it? Somewhere. Anyways, not deep Florida, like Panhandle, Florida. Anyway, so good guy. He's only about 6'7", 350, something like that. He's a big guy. Anyway, so yeah, so that was North Dakota. Anybody got any questions about North Dakota before we move on? Like what the dates are next year that we're going or something? Yeah, maybe. No. All right, good. Moldova. Next. There we go. So, Moldova. If y'all don't know, this is the country that I really learned how to do missions in. So we went from 06 to, where'd my wife go? Oh, so we went from 06 to 2011, and as a college student, I lived over there all summer. Most time when we went, we were there for 3 or 4 weeks. So it formed my whole world, my whole idea of what missions look like. So to be gone from there for 13 years and then go back, it was very, very special. And so that's a picture of us there in the top right corner. It ended up being so we had 3 other people going with us that at the last minute couldn't go. And so it ended up being the Tylers and the Woodyears. So it was like it was a family mission trip, but it was good. So we partnered with 2 sisters that are like sisters to me and Jana, Kate and Valentina. Kate actually used to live in the area. She did the youth at, what is it, Pine Grove for a little while she was here, and she's a college professor now in North Carolina. And so anyway, so them together, they have created a curriculum called English with Kate and Val. And so it's a big pull for people over there, just like in the Dominican Republic. If they want to leave the Dominican Republic, they have to be good at baseball. That's what gets them out of poverty. Well, and a lot of poor places in Europe, if they want to get out of the bad situation they're in, they learn English because they can go abroad and get good jobs and things like that. And so a lot of parents send their kids to English camps and things like that. So they created a curriculum. It's a 2-volume set so far, and to teach English and to teach idiots like me English also. And I'll get to that in a minute. And so, but in the curriculum, there's gospel threads to naturally get them to be curious about what is this God or this Jesus that you're talking about. So that's we get them to camp to teach them English, and then build relationships with them to be able to talk to them about gospel things. And so that was our role there, is to be the English experts somewhat. I failed English a lot, but I know how to speak it. So, but one day, Valentina came to me. I got stuck with the 3 old boys that came. They were teenagers, 15 and 16. We were talking for a while and doing our thing, and she goes, "All right, well, I need you to teach them the rules on when to use the, like we say the United States, but we don't say the Mississippi unless we're talking about the river. We're talking about the state, you say Mississippi, but you don't say the Mississippi for the state." You understand what I'm saying? And she said, "I need you to explain that rule, why you do that, when." I said, "I don't know." I was like, because it sounds right, And so she still had to teach a lot of the things for me, the grammar and I would learn. I'd be like, "Oh, that makes sense. That's why we do it." Anyways, but we had a daily schedule of, what we would do in the morning time. They had fun little ways to get the kids ready and, excited. And we did this little marching around in a train. What was it called? Yeah, the ants go marching one by one. Hoorah, hoorah. We did that every morning and every evening. And JT was at the front of it every time. The kids loved JT. But that was our morning little routine that we went through. We had morning programs and English lesson time. We had snack times and sports and games and skits in the evening. So what they were learning that day, they had to, and there were certain parameters that was given each day of, hey, you need to do this for I don't know, what was one of them like? It is essentially a way of showing what you're learning. And the kids, each class had to do their own thing. And some of them were like super, super creative. Me and Jana and Sarah had to judge them each time. And so very creative. And also, it wasn't on there, but during the evening program, on a few days, people were given opportunities, leaders were given opportunity to share like a testimony. And so one day the Moldovan leader did, and one day Jana and I, it was sort of like an interview style. Kate got up on the stage with us and she asked us questions about our family and why we do what we do. And it's an opportunity for us again to share why God is important to us and our family and why we put Him first. And so it's an intentional time to, again, drive home the fact that the need for the gospel. And so, anyways, so that was our day-to-day program, and these are just a few pictures. The picture by the fountain is in a park in Chisinau, which is the capital, that me and Kate and Valentina, I know every square inch of that park because we walked it and talked about 100,000 people in there throughout the years to go in there. So it was a day that we had in Chisinau that we got to go there anyways. And then so on the bottom there you got, I don't think there's any of us in that. No, it's just kids, yeah, learning English and stuff. So go to the next one. So you got JT teaching right here, and then Sarah on that side teaching. So it was really neat seeing those two being able to really fulfill those roles with no supervision. So it was, me and Jana were doing our thing. Sarah was doing hers. JT was doing his. And so they fell right into it. No problem at all. Now, Wes was a little different story. He was like a little shadow with us. But he had a lot of fun, had a lot of friends. A lot of the guys thought he was really cool, and they couldn't talk to him very much, but they thought he was cool. Anyways, next one. Next one. Yeah. There's JT again doing something, teaching. That was, and then on the right there, that's Sarah and Wes during rec time, sports time, and that's one of the leaders sitting beside Sarah. I can't think of her name. Her older sister. What was her older sister's name? Anna Maria. So So actually, while we were there, they were celebrating the passing. It's not really, they called it a celebration, but it was a celebration of life of the second anniversary of their father passing. He was a big military leader in Moldova, very high-ranking guy. But to hear their story, they had a very interesting story. And her sister, Anna Maria, played the violin for us a lot during music time and stuff, so real good. Next. I had to put a picture of there of me do something, stand there like I'm teaching. It's actually Wes probably doing most of the teaching. But that was, so we brought games with us to interact with the little kids a lot, to teach them a game, and in the game itself you could actually practice English with them. That's Sarah showing the treasure trove of stuff that she brought for them. If you don't know Sarah, she can when she gets excited about something, she's all in. And she obviously Sarah's teaching, and so she wanted to bring as much stuff as she could to Kate and Valentina to support their teaching there. And so that's what she's going over, a bunch of stuff that she had brought to them. And so that's probably the first two pictures that y'all saw. That's Kate and Valentina right there. I should have put a picture in there of them two to begin with. But anyways, that's Kate and Valentina. Kate is standing up, Valentina's sitting down. Go to the next one. So, so our dinners and breakfast, they came from the yard every day. That's vegetables and animals, whatever. So the evening before we ate this fella, Valentina's husband took Wes outside to show him what we do. So he walked over there with the chicken, chopped his head off, and you know what a chicken will do, right? And it got back up on its feet and chased Wes. And it was quite the experience. And so they all thought it was really cool. So, and again, just another little picture of Wes down there with the kids. The top right, so those are the missionaries from Nepal. So the wife, who is there beside Jana, she is from Moldova. And so they were there this summer, and so we got to see them and spend a little bit of time with them. And so that was just a good connection that we got to have while we were there, because I didn't get to go this year. And they're on our prayer list, so they made the slideshow. Next. Yeah. So, yeah, anything else about, Janet, did I miss anything about? Romanian? Yes. It took me a long time to get Romanian out of my head going and working in the Dominican Republic, because it's Spanish, they're both Latin-based. And so I had just about gotten it out of my head, and I went to Moldova, and it got back in my head, and this year in the DR was really hard for me to even think in Spanish. So, so they don't have air conditioning. Very few have air conditioning. So at night, it's in the 60s, low 60s. So we slept with the window open, a fan on, and I still sweated a lot. So, so in the daytime, I mean, it can get hot in the 90s. Yeah, it can get hot. Yeah. So, but it's considerably cooler in the shade. No humidity. Yeah. So, yeah. Any other questions? Church. And they do subscribe, or they agree with our statement, our doctrinal statements and things like that. So yeah. Yeah, the Eastern Orthodox priests are mediators between you and God. There's still a veil in their churches, a holy of holies, those things like that. The priest in this particular village in Kostesh, 20 years ago when they started doing ministry there, they actually had people running them out of the village with like pitchforks and rocks, and the priest tried to get somebody to go flip their car. But now, fast forward 20 years, we're doing this English camp in a public school. And the mayor of the village came and visited us about how happy he was that we were actually all three of those knuckleheads that I had, the older boys, were kin to the mayor. So yeah, it's a big difference over the last 20 years of how much the village has changed from that. Now they still believe, most of them, if they're Eastern Orthodox, they still believe that the Baptists are a sect or like a cult. And so there's still that push, but they see that over the 20 years, how genuine they are in wanting to build relationships and making the community better. And so that's a huge change. So, yeah. And it's also a pull when they say, "Hey, we've got Americans coming." They want to go. They want to practice English with an English-speaking person. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just realized people at home can't hear you. Yeah, what Jana said. Yes, sir. So there wasn't anything that we don't have. What, Sarah? Answer the question. Okay. Yeah, so pretty much they had all the same kind of fruits, minus anything really tropical, that we kind of get imported. But they may have had the same kind of fruit as us, but it's 20 times better because it's all naturally grown. I could eat my weight in their cherries and apricots. So, yeah. I wish I'd have included a video on here of the chicken eggs. Oh, yeah. About her uncle and I can't remember exactly how that went, but essentially he came up. What does a Southern guy do when another man walks up? You shake their hand and say hello, And so I just did that, and it was completely contrary to his whole belief on Americans and what he's experienced. And so, anyway, so I just thought I was. Oh, I did greet him in his language. That's right. And that was my bad. See, I know you should have. You should have been up here. What are you? Anyways, so yeah, that's Moldova. Anybody else got anything on Moldova? That's also a country. Andrew Adams went summer missions. 2011. Yeah. Yes, definitely. So, all right, so we'll move to the DR. So, because we're running out of time, Lindsay, I'm going to let you do a lot more talking because they've heard me enough. So, I do have to say about this Dominican Republic team, it was one of the smaller ones we've taken in a while, but it's probably one of the best summers we've had there. We had 17 salvations. between the medical clinic and the evangelism team, and saw almost 400 patients. So I may have stole two of your key talking points there. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll let him, yeah.
So I had the opportunity to go on 3 mission trips this summer, and this was my last one, which it's very dear to me because I'm a nurse, and so this is a way for me to give back in the profession that the Lord has blessed me and allowed me to be in. We don't do like a whole lot of nursey things. I gave some shots and stuff, but the expertise comes in handy because we have a lot of people that aren't medically trained, and we have providers that go along with us, some nurse practitioners, and we treat what to me and like us would seem very basic. And but these people come and they'll wait for hours and hours outside of our clinic to receive medical care. And so it's very humbling. You're like, oh, I could just go to Walmart and buy this stuff, and these people are coming to get just things like allergy medicine and Tylenol and even some stuff for their blood pressure. So it's definitely a humbling experience. But the fact that we were a very, very small team this year, we had 2 providers, and they, like you said, almost saw 400 patients, which was incredible. And of course, those are kids, like itty bitty babies. I think we had like a 6-day-old baby at one of our clinics, like teeny tiny. And then we have people close to 100 sometimes. And so we see a vast range of ages and things. But this picture here, Sarah and I had the opportunity to be in the pharmacia, excuse me. And so we wrote all the medications that were going out of the clinic. And so that is a huge undertaking and task because you have 400 patients times at least, 3, 4, 5 medicines a piece. It's a lot of writing. So there's a lot of prep work that goes into it, and I feel like we perfect it yearly. We get better and better. But it's a lot of fun. And so sometimes when you're back there writing all these labels for medications, you're like, oh, I'm missing out on these sweet things. But the kids would just run up to you. They'd see something cool on your table. So we planted some stickers on our table. And they'd be like, what's that colorful thing right there? They didn't say it, but I saw it in their face. And so they'd come over there, and we'd get to put a little sticker on them. And they just thought it was the best thing, give you a big hug. So that was really sweet. But one thing that was really cool to me, this year we had a guy named Tony at our clinic site, and he feels like he's the Lord gifted him with the gift of evangelism. And so we kind of got to hear that firsthand because we were sitting there writing labels, and he's back here like presenting the gospel to people that are waiting for their prescriptions. And so we're like, we're going to write slower because we really want them to get this information. But it was really cool just to see that take place and just to, like I said, just overhear that almost and just see the Lord work through him and us have salvations at our clinic that week. So Sarah's there with her labels and, of course, loving on kids. That little girl up there with me in the picture, I had to give her a shot. She had a pretty bad infection that required a shot, and she was braver than a lot of adults. Like, she didn't cry, she didn't flinch. It was so sweet, and she gave me the biggest hug at the end, even though I just put a shot in right there. But she did so good, and it was so sweet. And that's our team right there on the bottom picture. We had, 5 translators with us that we got to build relationships with through the week, and they're awesome. It's just cool to see how God planted them there and that they desire to serve the Lord in that way of translating. There's more. Okay, so our small team, I know we keep talking about that, but then we split in half. So we take this small team and then we split in half. Half of them went and did evangelism, and they would go into the communities. A lot of times they'd go into the community that we were coming to. So they were able to kind of say, hey, there's a medical clinic that's coming to this church tomorrow. And so they would go out. You see on the left-hand side there, they are doing VBS. And they would have like 75 kids. And what were there, six of them? 7? There were 6 or 7 of us with 75 kids. So think of doing VBS all by yourself. It'd be a little crazy, but they did so good. I just loved how they just tackled that, and even some of the locals jumped in. They talked about how this one local lady, she was like really excited they were there, and she had a little stick, and she would point it, and she said those kids would be like I'm not moving. So it was, people, the local people joined in with them, and they had a lot of response. So the bottom right picture, that's Tony in the little tie-dye shirt, and then that's Wilfred. Y'all probably know Wilfred. He's the guy that is over there. He helps organize the churches that we go see. And it's awesome. I love how he describes what we do, that we're not just there to treat the physical needs, but we're there to help strengthen the local churches. And so a lot of times, because of our presence there in the church, it shows that church has provided us great need for the community, and that's to meet their medical needs. And so it's really cool that even though we're leaving, that church has made an impact in that community by us being able to be there for that day. And so I love that thought that we're not going just for those medical needs, but we're also strengthening that local body that's going to be left there when we leave. And then we'll go back to that other picture, because we can't leave that out, because Justin put this glove on his head. I don't know if y'all have ever put a glove on your hand. They're pretty tight. So he managed to get a glove over his big gourd head, and he blew it up like a chicken, and the kids died laughing. They thought it was hilarious. And yeah, so that's Justin next to Justin. He found a little Justin friend. So yeah, and then we saw a PJ the week before from Rain Down Ministries. I was like, oh my gosh. So, anyways, we have fun even when we're treating patients. Sometimes we look like chickens. Okay, and the next slide. So on the left there, this is just a picture of how hospitable these people are. We come to their church. They know that we're Americans, and they know that we have comforts that, and that we're sweating profusely when we're out there. And so they make all sorts of accommodations for us, and it's just so sweet. And we're like, that's not necessary, but thank you, because we're dying here. But it was very, very sweet to just see the people of the church make little accommodations, like putting up a tarp so we're not sitting in the sun, or bringing in fans, and just giving us some comfort. The page or the family on the that's a motorcycle, and yeah, only the dad has a helmet. We couldn't figure that out. I'm assuming there's not many laws of the road in the DR. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, you'll have severe anxiety if you're a control freak in the DR, because there's people about to hit you all the time. But they ride around on motorcycles, 4 and 5 in a family, just pile on a little motorcycle. But the driver's always the one wearing the helmet, so we can't quite figure out. There must be a law. I don't know. Yes. I've heard about that, but I don't know. It was pretty impressive, because they're driving like maniacs with 5 people on a motorcycle. Yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting to see. Always. There's no more? That's it? Okay. So yeah, I always enjoy. There's nothing like going on an international trip. I highly recommend it, because it changes your perspective. We're very, very blessed here in America. We're blessed with being able to just go get seen by a doctor at any time. We're blessed with being able to get the medications we need at pretty affordable prices usually, even if you don't have insurance. A lot of times you can get those at, manageable rate. So I always say, if you've never been on an international trip, you need to go, because it will change your heart about how we live here in America. And I always love the opportunity to go. And I feel like Tony was actually talking about his evangelism trip in Africa. So me and Sarah were like, all right, Justin, when are we going to Africa? We're ready to sign up. because it's really cool. And I just always want to go back to, Lord, where are you working? And I want to be there. And so if that's in Africa, I'm going. Or if that's here at Sand Hill, I'm going. And I do want to end with this, that Sand Hill did have a big part in the DR. Our ladies who did Dignity with Grace and all the people that had a hand in that. They were a huge hit. They made some feminine products for us, reusable ones. And ladies would get those. And what they would do is that a lot of times they'd go out into their little community pods and they would come back. Like ladies would come back and be like, hey, like, where's that thing? And I'm like, the backpack? And I'm like, we're all out. You know, like they wanted to come back. And one thing I loved about the ministry that they talked about was that we're giving these out in the Lord's name, and we want them to be well made. Because anything we do in the Lord's name, we want to do well, even if that's something like a sanitary pad. So that was really cool just to see their response to that. And that I actually talked about this in VBS, that mission starts right here at Sand Hill. And so it was cool that we got to do that. Sorry. But yeah, we got to have hands here at Sand Hill. And it went all the way to the Dominican Republic. And I know that a lot of love was poured into that. And so I thank you, ladies, everybody who had a hand in that, because it was greatly received. And so, anyways, it was a great trip. I encourage you to go next year.
So, so thank you for challenging everybody, because it does change your whole worldview and your the way you approach ministry here, because these are just now granted, some people do more than 1 week, but these are just simply one week out of the 52. That's less than 2% of your year, but it can greatly affect the other 51, and the way you do ministry here and the way you engage people in your community. And so, yeah, we hope more will join us next year, and there'll be more to come about trips and stuff like that. And so, does anybody have any questions about any of those three, maybe, that you didn't feel like you got answered? No? If y'all want a really disturbing video, I can show you a disturbing video about Moldova. Jim really loved it. Anyways, yeah, it's about a chicken. Yep. No, they ain't nobody done it right. No, they don't do that stuff here. Are you serious? No. You don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. I've killed my fair share of chickens. I have killed my fair share of chickens. This is not what I'm talking about. It's still not there yet. It's still not there. Sarah Catherine did eat on a leg, though. A chicken foot. But straight from the chicken. Because you know how eggs develop in the chicken. And so all those were still there when it got killed, and they just, every one of them, waste not, want not. It's disturbing to watch, is what it is. Disturbing. If Kate and Valentine ever watch this, I'm sorry. But anyways, so yeah. Y'all come to Moldova with us next year. Yes, sir. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. You didn't get his goozle out of there. You didn't get the goozle and the gobble. All right. So, yeah, if there's nothing else, we appreciate y'all coming and listening to us talk. Sorry, Artie. Well, yeah. Hey, but listen, I have heard the stories of Guadalupe, and they're worth listening to. So y'all be on the lookout. It'll be another Wednesday night, and we'll see if Miss Robin wants to share. And so anybody else that we missed that went somewhere. We go a lot of places, and I'm happy of that. I know very few churches that are that involved internationally. And it's not like we've got a rich church, but we have a rich God, and He provides for all those missions. Every time we go back to look, there's money there to send missionaries. Anyways, so if anybody else, you want me to just close it in prayer? Yeah. So we'll pray, and then we'll be done with only 1 minute over. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for your goodness and your grace. We thank you for your mercy that we do not deserve, Father. We ask that you would just continue to stir in our hearts your call, your mandate in our lives to be on mission for you, Father, here where we live and just across the world, Father. Ask that you would just continue to be with the missionaries that we work with around the world, that you would continue to bless them and their efforts, that they would see fruit of their labor, Father, and that that you would show us the ways that we can help them, Father. We thank you again for your Son, for sending him to die for us, Father. It's in his name we pray. Amen.